Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's June 29th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You got the west coast of North America, Washington, Oregon, California. There's British Columbia. You can see that we've got this ridge of high pressure starting to build our somewhat invisible shield here along the west coast of North America, keeping our ridging going here for a few days, letting us warm up a bit here as well. And we're going to take a look at, as we go through the extended forecast, at what is to come as we go towards the 4th of July period. And then we'll take a look even after that as we look at some of the extended runs here. I'm going to show you some of the drought monitor updates here. I'm going to show a comparison of where we were earlier in the spring versus where we are now as well. So here we are currently. You can see that you've got some stratus right along the coastline there, but some areas are getting some sunshine out there as well. Not many clouds to speak of here across a lot of British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and even western Montana right now. There is some patchy stratus layer in towards the Oregon coast and back towards the foothills a little bit there as well. Now, looking at lightning here over the last 24 hours, nothing for Washington or Oregon, a little bit for BC there, Idaho Panhandle, and some of western Montana got a few lightning strikes as well. And if you guys want to send me some images, go to the Patreon page. It's free to sign up and do so. You can see Bruce Cruz sent me this one from Arizona, showing me a dust devil photo out there. So yeah, show me what you see in the sky out there. You know, whatever, anything weather related, go ahead and send it here. There's no videos, but apparently you can send the images here. Now, taking a look here at Spokane National Weather Service, we got the moderate heat out there, let's call it here. You can see some temperatures getting up into the low 100s there, lows upper 50s, lower 70s, and that's really where it can kind of be, it can be tough for people there. When we don't cool off a lot in the overnight period, it doesn't allow the body to recover that much. So anyway, we're going to warm up a few days here. We'll take a look at the temperatures here in a moment. Hydrate, take frequent breaks. You guys know the drill. Taking a look at thunderstorms here as we go through the day today towards tomorrow morning. Some of this creeping towards the California-Oregon border, and then this is going to creep a little bit further here in the upcoming days. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the European. This is last night's run, 06Z. There is our ridge, plain as day. You can see that on the infrared satellite imagery as well. Troughing out here across the Gulf of Alaska, back down across the Pacific Ocean. We start to kick that ridge off to the east, though, as we go into the early portion of July. And you can see as we start to move through July 3rd, you can see the trough, the lowered heights across some of western Canada here, and you can kind of see the zonal flow pushing back into the Pacific Northwest. Here's the 4th of July. Weak system present right across some of western BC, probably bringing some clouds across the region. This would be about fireworks time. Probably not a lot of precipitation for Washington, Oregon, or southwest BC out of this, but we got to watch it and see how many clouds are going to be around as well. And of course, the forecast can still change. We're still looking at 144 hours out in the forecast, but definitely no big ridge and no big heat dome for the 4th of July. We'll see in the extended forecast what is to come after that, though. And here we go. We got the sharp north flow down the coastline here, and we got still some onshore flow very early this morning, but that is going to be ending as we go through the day. You can kind of see how things are just coming out of the north and ever so slightly offshore across the eastern portions there as we go through this afternoon. May go out there and do some dust devil chasing here today and tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. And then you can see the offshore flow as we go on in through tonight into Monday morning. Look at the east winds kind of kicking across some of eastern Washington. You might wake up to some of those east winds. They'll give way to some weak westerlies probably by the time we get towards the afternoon. But, we've got this offshore flow, a little bit of a product of that thermal trough. That's what's going to allow us to warm up. This big ridge aloft equals that thermal trough up and down the coastline. So if we go off in towards the early portion and mid portion of next week, see the onshore flow start to return by the time we go towards July 1st, the evening hours. Decent surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca there as well. Some northerly winds, some north winds coming across the eastern Oregon as that marine air starts to try to move back into the area. Then we go through July 2nd here. You can still see the onshore flow occurring across the region. Here's July 3rd, onshore flow yet again. We go to the 4th of July, and I'm not going to complain here too much if there's some wind about kicking this smoke around, because it's not one of my favorite things to kind of be bathing in the smoke that we produce on the 4th of July. But anyway, you can see there would be about fireworks time there about the time the model run ends. There is some onshore flow associated with it. And definitely no big heat dome showing up right now. So if we take a look at this, I'm going to scroll through this pretty quickly because what I want to show you here is the afternoon thunderstorm activity here for some of the southern Oregon and afternoon and evening southern Oregon Cascades are showing some thunderstorms for Monday afternoon. And again for Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, and that starts to kick off across some of the Rockies of Idaho and towards Yellowstone there as well. And again on Wednesday afternoon, you start to increase some of those showers and thunderstorm activity across central British Columbia as well. Some of those getting a little bit closer to southwest BC. Now we go on in towards July 3rd. Again, inland areas, thunderstorms, British Columbia, pretty typical here. And then we go towards the 4th of July. And you can see this weak system right there, bringing some precipitation towards Vancouver Island, western British Columbia by the afternoon of the 4th. Kicks off a couple showers, maybe across the Olympics. Doesn't show much for Seattle, Portland, or southwest BC right now. But if the strength of that system changes, that could change as well. And that would be about fireworks time on the 4th of July. Now, total precipitation in inches. Let's scroll through here pretty quick. What I just showed you, you can imagine Seattle, Portland, not a lot of precipitation showing up. Nothing for Spokane as well. And you can kind of see the hit and miss nature of some of those storms. Bigger amounts up the west coast of British Columbia as you get towards southeast Alaska. Now, taking a look at daily 2-meter max temperatures. This is for today. You can see we are warming things up. Seattle maybe up towards 80 today. 90 for Portland, not out of the question. Some lower 90s eastern Washington, Boise towards lower 90s as well. You can see some of eastern Oregon warming up. Look at that 100 for some of southwest Oregon. We go on in through Monday, even warmer for Seattle, mid-90s for the Willamette Valley, and we start to punch up towards 100 degrees there for some portions of eastern Washington towards the Tri-Cities for tomorrow. Very warm day. Look at southwest BC as well up in the Fraser River Valley. Remember that this winter. Look at this mid-80s poking in there, and some mid-90s all the way up into the Okanagan River Valley that extends all the way back up into British Columbia. You can kind of see the lower elevations and the terrain features there where you really warm up at this time of year when you get these ridges overhead into some of these valleys. Now, if we go on in towards Tuesday, Wednesday, you still see a fairly warm day on Tuesday. I mean, you're still in the 80s for Seattle and southwest BC. And look at eastern Washington, probably the warmest day of the bunch, 103 degrees. And no doubt you want to be watching the heat on that. And look at Olympia, 85 degrees on Tuesday. We cooled things down somewhat on Wednesday. Seattle dropping off by at least 5 degrees. So you'll notice that cool down a bit, but it's not a huge marine push. We're not going to cool down that much. There's the 3rd of July. There's the 4th of July right there. So not a bad day across much of the region. And again, for most areas, it will be dry, but we'll continue to watch that over the next few days. Now we go July 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe a gradual warming trend as we go on in towards the next week. We'll worry about that later. So looking at artificial intelligence, 500 millibars. Here is the ridge that we are currently dealing with. It's going to dominate our weather for the next couple of days. And then it kicks off the east, and we're back to some of this troughing, this onshore flow. Cool us back down a little bit here as we go towards the end of next week. And now we head off in towards the 4th of July. This is firework time here. So kind of a weak zonal flow. Again, no big heat dome here for the 4th of July. So no big warm up in sight. And some subtle troughing here. It will be around. Now, artificial intelligence, let's scroll through here a little bit, and we'll just kind of look off into the future here. I wanted to scroll back beyond the 4th because it shows kind of an interesting trough. In fact, reminds me, I probably didn't show you this, and I didn't. Let's scroll ahead and look at what the artificial intelligence throws at us here as we go through July 7th and July 8th. Look at that upper level low right across the region. That could bring some interesting weather as well, but it is up over 200 hours out in the forecast, and you can kind of see that would be with this system here. So that would be kind of interesting there. Maybe would we start summertime after that? Well, who knows? We'll see how that goes. But yeah, still some troughing around in the extended. But you can still see as we go through the next 15 days, artificial intelligence ensemble mean versus the European ensemble mean here on the right. So this is the average of all 50 members of both of these model runs. And you can clearly see there is a below normal precipitation signal here for much of the Pacific Northwest until you get well up across some essential British Columbia up towards southeast Alaska. So yeah, the models are still showing below normal precipitation here as we go through July 13th or so. Now, we've been comparing this new model feature here, this new model run, the European Artificial Intelligence Ensemble Mean versus the gold standard on the right, the European Ensemble Mean. Put this into motion. We're going to kind of compare and see if the European Ensemble starts to go, or the artificial intelligence starts to go wacky. Not really. It does show a stronger trough there as we go through July 3rd and maybe towards July 4th of July. But for the most part, there's some pretty good similarities here, kind of this subtle troughing out there. And then we go off into the future a little bit more. It's a little stronger with the troughing here. But generally speaking, it's pretty in line with what the European ensemble mean is showing here. So I'll try to get some confidence here, and we'll see how this model starts to verify and what kind of verification scores it starts to get here over the next few months. Now, average temperature departure from average since April 1st. Look at the Pacific Northwest. I mean, my goodness, we have been above normal normal since April 1st for virtually the entire area. Some areas substantially so. A lot, there's a very good amount of areas of eastern Oregon, some of eastern Washington, between 4 to 6 and 6 to 8 degrees above normal. Seattle 0 to 2, but Portland is at 2 to 4 above normal, and some portions of western Oregon 4 to 6. And look at the percent of average precipitation since January 1st. I mean, this is widespread here, well below normal for a lot of the region. Now, percent of average precipitation since April 1st is even much worse. I mean, look at a lot of areas widespread between 25 and 50%. Some areas even lower, between 5 and 25% for the east slopes of the Cascades of Washington, some of eastern Oregon, Idaho. The entire region has been substantially below normal since April 1st. And here we go, average temperature from April 1st there to June 27th. You can see that we've been above normal there as well. So if I go back to March 18th, 2025, it seems like a long time ago, right? But let's scroll through here, and you can see there has been some change across eastern Montana. We go through western Montana. We have taken away that spot of extreme drought. We reintroduced it north, but some of the severe drought has also been expanded all the way in towards the Idaho Panhandle. You can see as I scroll over here, and look at the severe drought back into northeast Oregon. You can see the moderate drought's been expanded across western Washington, and then you can see severe and moderate drought has definitely been expanded across western Washington and western Oregon as well. And this is the latest update here on June 24th. So yeah, kind of not a great look here as we head off in towards summertime. I don't like to see it. Most of Washington and Oregon are abnormally dry, and again, a lot of moderate drought has been reintroduced. That's because that lack of rainfall with what I just showed you here. So anyway, yeah, I go out and run some errands today. Might go out dust devil chasing after that, and maybe tomorrow as well. I will be live streaming if I do so one of the days also. So hopefully you guys can join along with that. Hopefully you'll find it enjoyable. We'll see how it goes. It'll be my first time doing it. So anyway, click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow. Hopefully, I might be in a hotel room doing it out in eastern Washington, but otherwise I will talk to you guys again on Tuesday.